a great name for a space museum. Space Museum. Straight and to the point.
I don't see any beavers.
No beavers? Not a one beaver?
Well, to be fair, the tour guide said,
And these are just a few of the fine animal specimens we've sent to the stars.
just a few of the fine animal specimens, so this gallery doesn't show all of them. Maybe they did send a beaver up into space, but it's just not shown here.
No citizens beyond this point. It doesn't say anything about beavers.
So in this world where beavers and many other animal species are sentient and intelligent, beavers aren't citizens? I'm confused.
We want to be the first beavers in space.
We? You mean I? Maybe Norbert doesn't want to do this. Did you ask him? Assuming Norbert and Daggett really will be the first beavers in space, why were there two beaver-shaped astronaut suits lying around if there's never been a beaver in outer space before? Do they just have astronaut suits for every single species? I reject the fact that Daggett can climb this tower just as fast as the elevator goes up.
Next space launch takes place in 30 seconds.
Good thing Norbert and Daggett decided to become the first beavers in outer space only a minute before a space launch. Talk about convenient timing. Also, given the fact that Norbert and Daggett have snuck onto this rocket and weren't supposed to be there in the first place, assuming they hadn't snuck on, what was the plan for launching this rocket into outer space supposed to even be? Who was supposed to carry out the experiments that Norbert and Daggett are going to complete later in the episode? As far as we know, they're the only ones on the rocket.
Our moment in the sun.
Foreshadowing.
29.
Wait, you said the launch was in 30 seconds like 10 seconds ago. Now you're finally counting down from 30? This is poor planning. Remember, astronauts, make sure you stay seated until you leave orbit, or you might fall out of the rocket's exhaust pipes. Also, apparently the fact that you can get into space from inside the rocket due to 3 massive holes that aren't sealed off doesn't cause an oxygen leak when they're in space. Once again, they weren't supposed to even be on this rocket in the first place, but coincidentally, their spacecraft just so happened to be shaped like a beaver.
So we provided you with a map?
Why would you need a map to get to the sun? It's not easy to miss, just fly toward it.
And a long list of solar experiments you must complete.
There's nothing written on the paper, not even wavy lines to represent small text. It's just blank on both sides. From this point on, for the rest of the episode, when they're inside the spacecraft, they walk around instead of float around. I guess the animators turn the gravity switch back on. Where did this giant pan come from? We didn't see when they were floating around the spacecraft earlier. Once again, something, popcorn in this case, is escaping out of the spacecraft, but there's apparently no oxygen leaks from the hole it's escaping out of. About halfway through the episode, they start pronouncing beaver dose differently.
Beaver dose.
Beaver dose.
Beaver dose.
Weasel dos.
Beaver dose.
Beaver dos.
Earth, begin.
That's a start, not begin.
We're not experimental animals. We're animals that do experiments.
You want to explain the difference, Norb?
We're out of air.
Yet they don't seem to have any trouble breathing while they're in the spacecraft for the rest of the episode. Also, it apparently doesn't occur to them to fully zip up their spacesuits so they can breathe like they would if they were in the vacuum of space. My life is flashing before my eyes cliché. So, Norbert and Daggett went to school with human kids. Were they the only beavers, or animals for that matter, at school? This brief flashback scene raises so many questions.
I didn't mean to argue with you all the time.
I didn't mean to win all those arguments.
Even in near death, Norbert still manages to be a jerk brother to Daggett. Norbert and Daggett don't seem bothered by the heat now.
I've been vaporized. Now what?
How would you be able to watch this tape if you've been vaporized? Somehow, Norbert and Daggett managed to stop the spacecraft from getting sucked into the sun's gravity and have gotten out to build a gravity dam. So, why don't they just turn the spacecraft around and head back to Earth at this point? There's kind of no need to build a gravity dam now. Wow, there sure are a lot of satellite parts and scrap metal in outer space near the sun. Convenient for them, otherwise they wouldn't be able to build this enormous gravity dam. Good thing all these planets just so happen to be on this side of the sun, and not the other side where the gravity dam isn't at this point in their orbit. Otherwise they wouldn't have been able to escape their orbits. Also, when the planets fly past the gravity dam, wouldn't they just get caught by the sun's gravity again and resume their orbits?
You think you boys could move that dam out of the way?
How did Mission Control know about the gravity dam? Did Norbert and Daggett call them before they went out to build it, to tell them they were building it? Why are they paddling back home now? They blocked the sun's gravity. They could just fly back home inside the spacecraft knowing it's not going to spiral into the sun anymore. Somehow, the gravity dam made it cold and dark on Earth, but not escape its orbit like those other planets.